We pack up the gear and head to the University of Illinois College of Veterinary Medicine for this episode of the Paul Report. The U of I is home to some very special creatures. Over at the large animal clinic, you'll find Sophie and Sorbet. Their look is unique and their story is unforgettable. Next, join us for a discussion on saving the endangered donkey.
The Paul Report on WEIU is supported by Rural King, America's farm and home store, livestock feed, farm equipment, pet supplies, and more. You can find your store and more information regarding Rural King at ruralking.com.
Dave's Decorating Center is a proud supporter of the Paul Report on WEIU. Dave's Decorating Center features the Mohawk Smart Strand Silk Forever Clean Carpet. Dave's Decorating Center, authorized Mohawk Color Center in Charleston.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Paul Report. I am your host, Kelly Goodwin, and we decided to put the cameras in the bags and take them out of the studio and travel to Urbana, to the University of Illinois College of Veterinary Medicine. And today we are on the grounds of the College of Veterinary Medicine, kind of near the large animal clinic. And boy, do we have a special episode for you today. We are joined by Dr. Giorgia Podico, and she is a new guest to the Paul Report. And as always, we put our new guest on the spot. We're not going to reveal just yet why we're here at the large animal clinic, but we always put our new guests on the spot. So tell us about Dr. Podico and your background and how you ended up here at the University of Illinois.
Wow, okay. So my name is Giorgia Podico. I am originally from Italy. I went to vet school there in Milan. And then I started practicing. I'm very passionate about equine reproduction, so that's what I aim to specialize since right after vet school. I came to the University of Illinois in 2017 to pursue more the research opportunities that they have here. So I came here as a research scholar to join Dr. Canisso's lab, and I came for 6 months and I never left. So yes, so I did. I spent 1 year as a research scholar, and then I got selected for the position as a resident. So I completed the residency program, which is a program of 3 years long, then prepare you to become a specialist in animal reproduction. That's the one that I did. And I completed that last year, and then I joined the college. I remain here as a faculty, and I'm now a clinical instructor.
So what was your kind of path? What drove you to animal reproduction? I mean, that's just not one that you would think of, that there would be a lot of people that would decide that's my specialty.
Yeah, no, there are not many people, that's right. No. Just something that I wanted to do since the beginning. I grew up in a horse barn. I had broodmares myself, and I just were more passionate about the reproductive biology and how, about reproductive medicine, neonate and stallion reproduction too. So that's just something that I just had it. I just knew it. Yeah, I just knew it. I wanted to specialize in these instead of other specialty.
Well, I'm going to let you tell our viewers. We're going to do the big reveal kind of early in the episode of why we are here today, because the University of Illinois has a very rare, critically endangered animal here on campus. Actually, a couple. I'm going to let you pronounce it because you do a much better job than I do, and then we're really going to delve into the two beautiful animals that you have here.
So yeah, we are talking about a special French breed of donkey called Baudet de Poitou.
Poitou. So it comes off of your tongue a lot better than mine. But the Poitou is an ancient French donkey breed. Tell us about the origin of this animal.
Well, I mean, it's not pretty much very much documented, but from paintings and similar things from the Middle Ages, you can actually see and distinguish the characteristic of the coat of those donkeys that documented that this donkey breed was actually very, very old. And then, they organized the breed, and the stud book, the registry of the breed, was formed in, I think at the end, on 1884 in France. That's where it started. Actually, everything was documented, all the bloodlines, all the genetic, and that's where actually was started. But the breed itself is very, very old. And it also served as a... They also used it to make other breeds, like the mammoth donkeys here in the US, and it was also mixed with other donkey breeds in Europe too.
The Poitou has very unique standards. In fact, the game plan for our interview today was to have the two Jennies with us, and they did come out for a little bit before our interview, but they were a little active, and we decided to just show them throughout this interview instead of having them here behind us. But their standards are very unique. In fact, our crew that was joining me, that's behind the scenes here today, said the first thing they said was their ears are so big and so perky. They've got a big belly too. Other standards about the Poitous?
Well, they are one of the largest breed of donkey in Europe and almost even here in the US. They can reach about almost 1,000 pounds of weight, and they are high about 14 to 15 hands at withers. And one of the main characteristics of them is their coat. So they're very shaggy, and they have those characteristics like dreadlocks. And the more they have, and the better and the more precious they are. Okay, so it's illegal to cut them,
Does their coat stay like that all the time, or do they have some shedding aspects to them?
Not really. I mean, I could see that Sophie, for example, the black Jenny, she shed a little bit during this summer, but she maintained most of them a longer body. Yeah, but no, they usually don't shed, so they keep them, and they become longer and longer and more messier and more messier.
And their ears?
From time.
Their ears
they
are very big and perky?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have very, very long ears too.
What about their temperament? When they were out here, obviously they wanted to munch on grass, but are they sweet? Are they active? What is their temperament like?
Well, they're very sweet and kind of calm, but they for sure have very strong opinion. You could see, they decided that they didn't want to stay here with us, so they just decided to move away and go to eat better grass over there. So
and go to their cooler area inside.
Yes, exactly. So they have they're very calm and quiet. They're good animals for kids, and because they're very sweet.
One of the reasons why we decided to conduct this interview with you today is because the Poitous are critically endangered. Let's talk about why they are critically endangered and how many of them are there globally today.
Well, the exact number is not very well known. I thought that I think that one of the last census that they did in the U.S. there were about maybe 300 to 400 in the U.S. and in France I'm not very sure. But there are also some breeders in other countries like Australia that actually reached out to us when they saw all the kind of the success that we had with the breeding program that we had here. So I would say that yes, their decline is mainly due because they kind of lost their purpose, because before this breed of donkey was used to produce mule. So we said that they're very, very big and sturdy and very, very strong. So in France, they were crossed with a very specific breed of mares, of horses, to produce a very sturdy mule that could be used in agriculture there. So, with the use of tractors and other tools, they kind of lost their use, and little by little the number of the Poitou donkey decreased, and kind of the same here in the U.S. too.
And just from my research doing this, it's hard for them to become pregnant as they age and their genetics. Is that something that kind of plays into the population as well?
Well, that's for sure. The fewer number plays an important role because, you have what's called inbreeding, and so their genetic pool becomes smaller and smaller, and they can have more diseases, and they're more prone also to pregnancy losses, for example. And donkey itself, they're very hard to become pregnant, especially when we're talking about using frozen semen, for example. So that's something that's not very successful in donkeys as it is in horses.
Let's talk about the genetic program here. The University of Illinois has really made a strong commitment to this program. And for those that aren't familiar with this, tell us about the program, how it's conducted, what the process is here at the University of Illinois.
Mm-hmm. So the first time I met them was 2 years ago. Because the owner of those jennies, which is Barry Fisher, she's from Vermont, and she owns a rescue organization there. She acquired those jennies from another person that basically gathered a lot of the Poitou donkeys that were in the US and collected and kept them there. And she had, in the 90s, a successful breeding program too. She had few male donkeys that she stored semen from, and that's the same one that we use for those jennies too. So
the program here evolved from
so the first time, she contacted us 2 years ago asking for information because she wanted to preserve and bring along this breed, and she contacted us because Dr. Canisto, which is the head of the Equine and Interior Genealogy Service here, is very famous worldwide for his researches in donkey reproductions, because they're not very well studied. So she was looking for an expert, and she found him, and so that's how we got in contact, and I met Barry and her 5 jennies. They came here for the first time 5 years ago, and then we were successful with 2 pregnancies. One was lost underway, and then the other one was carried to term, and we have beautiful Hamilton that just turned 1.
Oh.
And he had a beautiful party, they told me, with 300 people in Vermont, and a cake and all sorts of gift for him. Yes.
Well, our viewers have had the chance up to this point in our discussion to see the beautiful animals that are here at the University of Illinois. I think we should probably introduce them. They have very cute names, and they're very distinct in nature. So introduce us to the 2 jennies.
Yeah, so we have the one that you saw that he has a red halter, that her name is Sophie, that's the darkest one. And the other one with the blue halter, kind of lighter brown, is Sorbet. They're best friend, they love stay together all the time, and they actually spend time on top of each other every time, all the time.
Do their names have any significance, or when you got them, were they already named?
No, they were already named like that, and they're actually registered with that specific name because they're actually registered in the French stud book. That's why they're important. That's why they were chosen between the other female that Barry owns to be bred and hopefully have another foal because of their genetic.
You know, I did an episode with a gentleman that raised Clydesdale horses, and he told me that Clydesdales were just like 6,000-pound dogs. Would you compare your jennies to that too? I mean, do they respond to their names? Are they, I mean, obviously they're not going to sleep in your bed like a dog would, but do you see characteristics of like a smaller domesticated animal just in a bigger form?
Yes, no, that for sure. Yeah, no, that for sure. And they kind of know me. They know that I always take them outside to graze. Yes, they for sure know. And yes, I would do the same comparison. Yes.
So the U of I, you said that has been really active in this program with the Poitous for a couple of years now. And what does that look like going forward? As far as, I mean, as we're filming here at the end of July, I had asked you as we were recording if any of the Jennies were pregnant as we speak, and you said,
well, no, we're actually waiting for the pregnancy diagnosis that we can do usually after 2 weeks from their artificial insemination. That's where we can first see the pregnancy with our ultrasound. That's the earliest we can see it. So we're actually anxiously waiting for that time. That's gonna be next week.
And the odds of the Jennies being pregnant is actually rather rare.
Yes, it kind of is, especially because we are using frozen semen, which has very, very little success in donkey. We do hope that the Kipling, which is the male donkey that was imported directly from France last fall by Barry, and we hope that it's gonna be ready soon and it's gonna be being able to reproduce, and we're gonna use fresh semen on them, and that should be way easier with that.
So when this process is somebody like myself that's not familiar with it, so when this process happens, you inseminate, there's a period of time that you wait to see if the pregnancy is going to happen. If you discover that it isn't happening or it didn't happen, how long do you traditionally wait to try the process again?
So they usually have an estrus cycle every 3 to 4 weeks. So imagining that we do the insemination and then we wait 2 weeks for the pregnancy diagnosis, and then they're about to either being pregnant, which we hope, or if they're not, then they're gonna start a new estrus cycle right away.
Now you said the 2 Jennies that are here, how old are they, and what is typically the lifespan for the Jennies in general?
So donkeys actually live very long. I think they can live up to 30 to 35, 40 years. Yeah, they actually live very long. The 2 Jennies we have here, they're about middle ages. They are about 15 years old, both of them, yeah.
Again, your specialty is reproduction. Are you personally involved in any research projects, assisting with any research projects that go hand in hand with what you're doing here?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes, because I'm also a PhD student. So part of my PhD thesis is gonna focus on the frozen semen of donkeys, and to optimize and create some techniques that can actually improve the fertility when it's used on the Jennies.
What have you learned in your research so far?
Well,
things that really have, and I'm sure, and maybe you can explain it, a lot of your studies are involved in what you do day to day with Sophie and Sorbet.
Yes.
What have you learned?
I actually have, we actually are applying the same technique of semen processing that we kind of proved successfully in the lab. We are actually trying them on them too. So basically it's nothing done on them directly, but it's just by doing some special centrifugation on the frozen semen right before the artificial insemination.
How successful do you believe is building up the breeding program here in the Poitous? How successful in that area can it be to other breeds of species that are also struggling to survive?
Well, I think it can be, so it can have a huge impact, because what we discover to optimize, for example, the frozen semen in this breed can be applied also to other breed and make them and improve their chances to be able to be conserved and survive. Yes, because for some breed there is just the genetic of live animal is so small, there is fewer number of animals, so what's gonna play a major role is the frozen semen that has been harvested in the past, and being able to have a way to be able to use it effectively that will give higher chances and better success.
What does the future survival of this particular species look like, and what does it mean to you as somebody that really has devoted a large part of your life to them?
Well, I mean, we are working on it. We are working, and we got, you know, some ups and some downs. So we hope to continue, and for sure I'm gonna pursue this project. And so I hope it's gonna become better and better and better.
Take us through a typical day here. So you've been at the U of I for 5 years.
Yes.
And the better part of it has been spent with the Jennies and the research. So those of us that go back to our offices and sit at a desk, your life is a little different. Take us start to finish on what your day looks like here.
So yeah, I usually start very early. This morning I started at 5. The first thing, you know, to usually do is to perform an ultrasound on them to see what's going on with their ovaries. So what time on their estrous cycle they're at. And then we're gonna make a plan for the day for each of the Jenny or the horse that we are working on. When we are working with frozen semen, with those Jennies, we have to do very, very frequent checks on them. So we are checking them sometimes every 2 hours, because you need to do the artificial insemination very, very close to the moment when the egg is released from the ovary, from the moment of the ovulation. So sometimes, you know, this process, it takes me the whole day, and sometimes also the night. And sometimes after those morning checks, I am, you know, good, and I just go in the lab and continue working on frozen semen or other research projects that we have going on in the lab.
Well, we sure look forward to coming back when the news is released that either Sophie or Sorbet is with another little Jenny or Jack. So after your day is done and you spend all of this time with them, weekends too? I mean, obviously,
they don't stop.
They do not
don't
stop.
stop.
They do not stop. And they have actually become quite the celebrities here in Central Illinois. Several local media outlets have come and spotlighted your two favorite friends, which is neat.
It is.
Do they like all the cameras on them and the celebrityism that has become the Poitou donkey here?
They do. I mean, they actually like to meet people and to come outside here grazing, and you know, they take this extra time outside, and it's fun for them. Yeah. And I mean, they shouldn't. I mean, I don't know if they're aware of, but they're actually helping the breed a lot. So, you know, creating, you know, making them known to the community. I think it's very important. So I think yes.
You smile all the time when you talk about them, which is so awesome. I want to know about some stories that you can let me in, our crew, and the viewers in on some funny stories. And it doesn't have to be one. You can share a couple of them, of some memorable moments with the two Jennies and the Jack maybe too.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the best moments is when I actually detected a pregnancy on one of the Jenny that was here 2 years ago. Her name was Quiche Lorraine, and it was the best moment of all. Yes. But you know, day by day, they're just very fun, just to bring them outside, and they have the personality, and they come and touch me, and they're just super, super fun. The Jack, instead, his name is Kipling. Kipling, yes. He's a youngster. So sometimes it gives me trouble kind of to walk outside and inside. So yes, I like it a little bit less than the two female, but it's still super cute. And I mean, it's so cute that you cannot even get mad at him. I can't. It just looks like a teddy bear kind of thing. Yeah.
And they're so photogenic.
Yes, they
are.
are.
We are, again, as we're filming here in July, we are anxiously waiting if the last insemination will end in a pregnancy, and we sure hope it does, because that would just be. We will definitely have to come back to see the little one. And what do you call the little Jack or Jenny? Is there a particular name?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Oh,
no.
I put you on the
Fall?
spot. I didn't.
Yeah.
A little fall. Wow. Well, it has been so fun, and I'm so glad that you accepted our invitation to come to the University of Illinois to talk about your special friends. I'm going to let you say it again because you say it so much better than I, the name.
Baudet de Poitou.
And Dr. Giorgia Podico here at the
Yes.
University of Illinois. Thank you so much for spending a few moments with the Paul Report.
All my pleasure.
And thank you, our viewers, for coming on the road with us to Urbana, Illinois and the University of Illinois. Until next time, I'm your host, Kelly Goodwin. We'll see you then.
Dave's Decorating Center is a proud supporter of the Power Report on WEIU. Dave's Decorating Center features the Mohawk Smart Strand Silk Forever Clean Carpet. Dave's Decorating Center, authorized Mohawk Color Center in Charleston.
The Paul Report on WEIU is supported by Rural King, America's farm and home store, livestock feed, farm equipment, pet supplies, and more. You can find your store and more information regarding Rural King at ruralking.com. Additional support for the Paul Report provided from Soggy Paws of Mattoon.